Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We're going to do something today which is going to be a lot of fun. For those of you who have not seen my November energy report, you're going to want to watch that even before you see the individual sun sign breakouts. And the reason why is it goes into a really in-depth detail of how we're telling ourselves new spiritual stories and how we're moving into a new period where we're actually going to start creating new earth based on this new spiritual story. But we're in the midst of it, and that is one of the reasons why I really wanted to put forth these individualized sun sign videos. I'm not typically focused on astrology, although I'm getting much more interested and I may end up doing more astrology in the future. But what I'm going to do here is you're going to find this video probably in two places. You're either watching this on What on New Earth or you're watching it on Intuit Oracle. I felt that these videos were, perfect for both audiences because I am going to be using Intuit Oracle cards, and that is the official sponsor of What on New Earth. It happens to also be my business with Kimberly Aria, and I absolutely love reading cards, so I'm putting it together with this newfound love of astrology. And I mentioned in the other video that there's an app called Sirius Joy, that's Sirius Joy, that a lot of the information I'm bringing forth is based on. The lead astrologer, an amazing, he calls himself Sensei, and I think that's the perfect title for him, Christopher Witecki. You're going to want to check out his app because I cannot even begin to tell you what an impact it has made on my spiritual journey, and I've been doing this a long time. Quick change. So I'm so excited about it. So what I'm going to do is, this is the same introduction that's going to be on each sun side video. So if you're watching a second for your rising sign or your ascendant, and I highly recommend that you check all three because all three are going to be extremely important for you. But if you are, you're going to have already seen this beginning, so you're just going to want to spin on through and go right to the meat of it. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, I sure hope you'll stick around. We'll be right back.
Still and silent, calm before the storm, gold and diamond, jewels behind the throne, into the night, out of the dark, take to the sky, chasing the stars, all that we said, all that we are. Waiting to fly, this is the start. Hide and seek, reason and rhyme, grand and glorious. Living the dream, yours and mine, euphoria.
Welcome back, Scorpio. It is time for your reading. First, we're going to do a little astrological look at what's headed your way for your new spiritual story. I'd like to once again credit Christopher Witecki. Most of this is his work, so I want that to be very clear. I feel it is so important, however, to give you an idea of where you're facing at this juncture. But if you are interested in taking this deeper, looking at really specific aspects for your situation, I would check out his app. That's Sirius Joy. Scorpio, you are going to start looking at how you treat yourself. This is part of your new spiritual story. Self-treatment is self-love, and vice versa. How you love yourself is demonstrated in how you treat yourself, and you are going to begin to treat yourself in a whole new way. You've been taking a look at how are you treating yourself. Are you treating yourself with compassion, kindness, compassion and patience? And this is going to change how you respond in all other areas of your life. So it's going to transform based on how you treat yourself. And because of the changes that you're making, you're going to be cutting some things out. You're going to be ending certain behaviors and habits for once and for all. And you will end up finding yourself cutting ties with people or situations that no longer resonate with you. You might find yourself, because Mars is in this transit, plus you're in your own sign, you might find your own defensiveness kind of multiplied by 100. So you're going to want to, kind of take a look at that and check that. But really good news is because of this and how you're defining your treatment of self, you're going to be able to manifest new kinds of relationships. You're going to be looking at expanding and innovating how your relationships operate. You're going to be taking them to higher levels, or you're going to be cutting them altogether. You also may be doing something new for a living, or you are maybe defining yourself a little bit differently. During this period of time, you're going to expand into how you act and react. So when we get to the full moon in Taurus, this is when it's a good possibility that whatever long-term partnership path you've been on, probably going back to 2012, this is going to come to an end in how you're defining it. Okay, so you're going to also be looking at where it was going. And, that is what's going to change. And you might not even know where it is going, but you are going to be birthing something new. And this all has to do with your approach to spiritual self-mastery. Different definitions of new long-term relationships. You are going to be opening up to new behaviors, putting them in higher spiritual dimension. So Scorpios define their spiritual patterns through love in all different kinds of ways, from projects to children to creativity, and your personal dreams. And he does say that your, what he calls a golden egg project or your special project, is going to change. The heart has been stuck in a certain place since 2012, and now we're coming to the end of these stories and lessons, and that means you're going to be turning some corners around your own personal dreams, and also around your personal behaviors that lead to those dreams. You're going to be able to take more charge of how you feel about yourself. You're going to be committing to health in a very solid way. Which is going to enable you to be more in control on a day-to-day kind of life. You will be doing all of this and getting a hold of some stress levels that have been there, and that's going to start improving things, which one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to open up in your thinking. It's time to come up with new ways of thinking. You might be changing from a more inflexible, you might tend to be a little bit inflexible when it comes to the way you think of things. Well, you're going to probably find yourself coming into a lot more flexibility in how you look at things and how you communicate it. So new thinking and communication will match the changes that are happening with you. So you're going to have some massive changes in thinking and logic. You're going to have some changes in your plans. You're going to gain some authority from thinking. But at this point, your thinking is still a little bit old school, and you need to think differently and consider new things and be open to new things in order to make these new things manifest. You are going to want to stay open. And that's what you're committing to, is staying open to these new things that are coming in. Now, you will be, when the sun goes into Sagittarius, you're really going to be looking more at your self-worth. So the things that you thought made you valuable, you're going to start to have a new story. because I think that a lot of times we value ourselves based on what we're told as children or, what we experience over life. What you're going to find out is that you have other things that make you valuable inside yourself, and that's what creates your true value and what you bring to the world. So you're going to be writing new stories as the sun moves into Sagittarius about why you're valuable, what it is about you that makes you valuable in your own mind. And this is going to be where it takes really trusting your heart and your feelings. Some of the fears that you're going to come across during this period of time might be the fear of trusting others. Where we haven't trusted ourselves, it's sort of projected into not trusting others. So you might experience some fears about that, but you are being asked to follow your heart. So essentially, we're really looking at redefining our self-love and how that really shows up in all the myriad of ways in our life. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pull up some cards now, and we're going to take a look at how this sort of manifests in your world a little bit, maybe more specifically for those of you who are actually tuned in to this reading. First thing I'm going to do is pull shamanic healing card. So we're going to take a look at what area of your life right now are you working on healing. Very exciting period of time we're going through, guys. I can't emphasize it enough. It's like this big question mark as to where we're really headed, but it is the spiritual story that we've been working towards our whole life. Okay, so the card that came up for you is grounding. All right, I'm going to take a look at my little book here. This is a number 36. Let's find out what this book has to say about grounding. Okay. As humans, our body are of the earth. It's a natural inclination when we experience uncomfortable emotions or energies to ground it out, much in the way a ground wire works with electrical current. However, with so much in our modern lives that cause us to be disconnected from Creator, we tend to gravitate towards false grounding. Overeating, smoking, drinking, recreational drugs are common ways that people ground. These items are of the earth, but they are not. They are of the earth, but they are not the earth. This is not true grounding, and as such, it cannot sustain, it cannot last. What ends up happening is that, as with most experiences that are false, we need more and more to achieve the same result. To truly ground and connect to both the earth and Creator, practice consciously connecting your energy to the earth. You should not be getting your energy outside yourself, which is really, this is the new spiritual alignments that we're making, is to literally connect with our source connection. This is achieved through meditation, energy work, and mindfulness. Find a way that works for you and practice it. By drawing this card, you're able to ask to look at the areas in your life where you may be employing false grounding as a coping mechanism. And this is a really good point because during a lot of the shifts and changes that we're going through, it's very easy to forget the essentials of grounding our energies to the earth, especially when we're super busy and we have a lot of things going on. That can be, we talk about self-treatment and self-love. That's one of the best things that you can do for yourself to show your self-love. All right. Let's go ahead, and we're going to find out what Scorpio needs to surrender in order to make this spiritual transit. And we're talking about a period of about, I would say, 3 or 4 months that we're about to go into that's going to solidify this new spiritual story that we're telling ourselves, and that we're going to be, isn't it interesting? So we got surrender to prayer. Okay? So we're going to surrender to prayer. Give yourself over completely to prayer. And I say alignment with source, and isn't that what we're kind of talking about with grounding? When you pray from your heart, you will be heard through the universe, and the answers and support will arrive. this is a very challenging period of time. And like the implications of Mars, there's going to be ramping up of ego. There's going to be, drawing boundaries. And what better way to make sure that you keep that in a place where it really works for you than to stay in a prayerful place on a regular basis. And we're going to also take a look at life purpose. Going along with this, I mean, we've got, let me see here. Your personal dreams, the things that you've been working on, that's a big part of your spiritual purpose. But there might be some guidance that comes along with that. Writing. Do you know this is like the 4th reading that I've gotten that has had something to do with books or with writing? It's incredible. Okay, so whatever you're doing probably does have something to do with writing or expression. You heal, inspire, teach, and entertain with the words you write. And I can't help but thinking of my spiritual partner in the Intuit Oracle business. We've got more decks to create, and she's a Scorpio. So very interesting. More work to come. So you might also be a communicator of ideas and thoughts, and so that is part of probably what you're doing with some of your purpose. All right, we're going to take a look at a little bit more in-depth information. So we're going to check in with the Intuit Oracle. This happens to be my friend Kimberly's deck. And this is like one of my absolute favorite things in the world to do, is to pull cards. And I could not help but say there's got to be something here, information here for everybody in this period of time. And I'm seeing a couple cards that are face up. I'm going to turn them back down. I'm going to shuffle them back into the deck. All right, let's take a look, and I'm going to ask Spirit right now, Source Energy, please give me information on Scorpio and what they got going on. Okay, we've got the White Wolf of Guidance. Oh, we got the Soulmate Twin Flame card. Doesn't that speak to new definitions of relationships? Well, and I know a lot of people, it's interesting because the Twin Flame path comes up to mind a lot of times when I think about 2012, because it was in 2012 that almost all of the Twin Flames that I know of had a catalytic heart awakening. So, things coming full circle in that regard is something that I cannot help but, comes to mind when I think of this cycle that we've been through. And then here we've got that Twin Flame card popping up. Uranus, we've got the Lion, got fireworks, we got clouds. We got Jupiter expansion. All right, let's take a look at some of the cards that have been pulled up. And I typically try to just pull them up in the order that I notice them. All right, so the first thing that I see here is the White Wolf. Okay. And the White Wolf is talking about trusting your inner knowing. Okay, believing in your power. And this all ties really into self-love. Being able to tune into your own inner guidance. To have the resilience to move forward in things. And that's interesting because the second card that popped up was the Twin Flame or Soulmate card. So it does seem that there is something having to do with the deep soul connection being extremely important to you, Scorpios. Feeling a part of another person, but at the same time, the other side of it is the Twin Flame being the one. If we're talking about like an end of an era, I don't mean an end of relationships as that, but maybe a definition of what we think of as the way we view the relationship. So actually taking things to higher levels along the same lines may have something to do with what you're dealing with. We did get the clouds, and I saw that one next. And the clouds The clouds are, let me see, what was the next card that I got that I remember seeing? Grasshopper. Okay, let me just show you the grasshopper. Sometimes I'm having a hard time getting this to be clear. Autofocus seems to be a problem with several videos I've been watching lately of others. We've got some clouds as to where things are going. It's kind of like you may be like kind of concerned and have doubts and fears about where things are going in terms of, you know, taking the leap of faith, moving on, a change of direction. But I want you to see that there is sunshine, and the sunshine is on this divine connection. So this deep soul connection and even the wolf, these two energies are illuminating any fears and doubts that you may have about where you're going. We got Uranus. We got several. We got Uranus and Jupiter. Expansion and enlightenment. Now, both of these cards speak to the same thing. I mean, we've got Jupiter as the World card, and then we have the Fool. We're talking about like changes that are happening and jumping in and just doing it. It's expansive energy. It's optimistic energy. It's goodwill. It's a good turning point. And I want to say the words that jump off the card for Uranus is embrace the unknown. So there's a big part of all the spiritual journey, no matter what your sun sign is, that we really have to think that it's time to embrace the unknown, because we really don't know exactly what is coming. What we do know is we know essentially where we're standing in places. We've developed certain aspects of our personality. We've gained more confidence in that. And now we're kind of having to leave ourselves open to where things go. But you also got the lion energy. All right. And that's a majestic energy. It's everything having to do with overcoming difficulties. But also it's interesting, the word self-esteem is in there. Self-esteem is, again, coming from how you treat yourself, coming from what you say when you talk to yourself, coming from the boundaries that you draw for yourself and what you're worth and what you're not worth. So that bodes well for having some assistance and help on that. And we got the fireworks as well. And the fireworks, to me, in this case, hey, listen, let's pair it up with that twin flame card and let's say, woo, it's going to be on, baby. But so the nature of this reading, really, for me, though, is to see this card as a coming excitement, a new passion for life, a new passion, happiness, where you're going, exhilaration, feeling that energy, like your heart exploding when things are really, really good, and that this will come from your new spiritual season in how you treat yourself, in the self-love that you have, and how you value yourself, and what you see as being extremely important as to why you came here. All right, now I'm going to pull some Zodiac 108 cards. These cards tend to be give me a little bit even deeper information. They'll drill down a little bit further. I really like these cards because they give us the lots and lots of keywords. And the way it works for me is I find just certain ones jumping out at me and saying, oh yeah, this is what I resonate with in this particular reading. Like, this is what matches. This is what goes along. And all right, let's see what we got here. What's the Zodiac 108 have to say? All right, we got one card here. Okay, so we got the corset. And that's about boundaries, right? Holding it together. Support. Oh, we got friends in there. And that could be relationships, new relationships. Oh, we got it going right along with the prayer and the grounding. We got yoga. We got slingshot and crack shot. And crack shot really does, it really does describe to me my Scorpio friends. Mirror, taking a look in the mirror. Wow, these energies all go together. Even the corset in the mirror is almost like someone having a dress made for themselves and looking in the mirror. All right, so pulling forth this information the way I saw it. Well, the first thing that came up is the corset, and that is really about the boundaries. So it is the rules that you follow. It is, and interestingly enough, people pleasing is a big part sometimes of boundaries when it comes to, where we go wrong is trying to please other people. And, with you starting to define what's really valuable about you, you need to start taking yourself into account more into the equation. But anyways, so let's see what else came up. Friends came up with, that was the first card I saw with the corset. So I want to say that there is something here about redefining relationships, creating new relationships. We were talking about manifesting new relationships. So we've got friends. We got friends. So maybe new people to hang out with, new interpersonal relationships, new soul tribe. And you're going to be putting, and I say with the corset, you're also going to be putting boundaries around those people in your life who maybe just haven't really shown up as true friends for you and needing to draw that line. So we got some boundary stuff going on. The next thing I remember seeing was the yoga card. And of course, that really does go right along with grounding and prayer. Contemplation, going deep inside through relaxation. Remember to take breaks. Remember to take that time alone. And reflection. Reflect on yourself. And it's interesting because we also have the mirror. So we're going to be taking a closer look at ourselves, becoming more aware. We're going to start to more clearly see the ego. The ego that gets defensive, or the ego that is like a false sense of self-love, where the true sense of self-love starts coming when you start reflecting on what you have inside of you that you can appreciate. There is a tendency, though, if we look too much in the mirror, that can be a little bit obsessive. So there's a good balance to be struck there. But if you do spend some time in the meditation, going within, taking breaths, you'll find time for that inner healing for the inner child, which will give you, some of the soothing energy to help transist with the self-love and how you're treating yourself. Now, coming up, it's interesting that the crack shot and the slingshot, they both came up at the same time. So what that says to me is that, number one, the superior, competent person that you are, the part of you that's really on target, that's very accurate, that's very skilled, that has a lot of really great qualities, that part of you is emerging more. And the slingshot is saying that there's some kind of stress or pressure that's forcing you to make that move or be in that place, to launch you off, all right? Ready, aim, fire. So think about it. You're pulling in an opposite direction and bam, something takes off. So, boy, those two cards go so splendidly together. I am seeing right here the eyeglasses. Okay, and I want to say the eyeglasses do say that you want to evaluate your options. You do want to take a close look at things. You do want to look at the finer details of things. There can be a tendency to want to what do I always say for me? Ready, fire, aim. That's what I tend to do. There is a tendency to be like that when things are moving quickly. And that's where that energy of the slingshot is. So I almost feel like the eyeglass is just saying, hey, focus, check your details. You want to know really where you're going, review all these things. And then you also got the child. And again, the child really is about self-treatment. It's about it is the foundation, the formation of your of where you came from, where you were as a child. And it's really important, number one, to take the time to play, and to look at things in the simple way, and to engage with all the boundless energy. Most importantly is to figure out what it is that you love. What is it that you love to do? So I almost think that the eyeglasses and the child go really well together. And you want to balance that a little bit with the crack shot and the slingshot so that you don't end up just moving into something to do something. You want to make sure that it's aligned with the inner child, that it is something that, you delight in, something that you feel is really worthy of your time, something that you'll love and enjoy, right, as you're expanding. I'm surprised I'm not getting more communication cards. Looking here for communication, because it does seem that your astrology is saying, well, we've got the writing card. So we've got some of that. Yeah, I'm not seeing as much in the cards about communication, your thoughts. The other thing that is there that hasn't shown up in the cards yet is manifesting, like home, family, feeling more strong in that. Let me see here. Well, let's see. What I'm going to do now is I'm pulling Twin Flame Oracle cards. And the way I use this deck in a reading like this is a little bit more from a general standpoint as opposed to a love relationship. It doesn't mean that it isn't love relationships, but we're looking really at the relationship you have with yourself, the self-love, the self-care. All right, here we go. Some more. Let's see what else we got. We got a couple more. Interesting, because I'm seeing I've been so grounded, it's hard for me to trust the spiritual elements. All right, let me go ahead and pull up these cards and see what we got here. All right. Okay, so when I look into your eyes, I see the universe and it activates me. I would say that this is a new relationship with self. It's an 11 too. That it is time really to look into your own eyes and see what you see. Not what other people have seen, not what other people have told you about yourself. What do you see about you? This is all in trusting your value, what you bring, what characteristics you bring to the table. I've been so grounded all my life, it's hard for me to trust the spiritual elements of our connection, yet I cannot deny they exist. Most of the Scorpios that I know have had some kind of a spiritual walk, and if you're watching this video, more than likely you have. So I'm not sure about the spiritual elements, but what I would say is being as grounded as you can be, sometimes it's hard to trust myself. Okay? Trusting self. And that is something that I feel is that's almost universal. That's what's changing is our ability to trust ourselves. I feel your energy around me and I wonder, are you thinking of me too? So this is how much are you focusing on how much are you thinking and what are you thinking of yourself? What are your mental thoughts about the self? And are you taking time to literally think things through as to where you come from, where you are right here in your heart? I'm accessing past life wisdom. It's helping me understand things from a new perspective. Well, I would say that that's probably true because a lot of the shifts and changes that are taking place now can actually probably be tracked way back as far as Atlantis. I mean, these changes that are happening now are the huge changes that have needed to happen for us to move forward on a planetary scale. I'm I'm afraid this relationship is too good to be true, and I pull away from fear. I want to say that I see that as that fear that the astrological aspects talk about, trusting others, that there is some kind of deep fear surrounding others and whether or not you can trust them. And again, when you can trust yourself, it makes it so much easier to trust others. All right. And the last card that we've got is, I'm trying to understand how my thoughts create my reality. I know I need to stay positive. Are you? Well, I mean, definitely trying to understand how thoughts create reality is a walk. It's a practice. It's monitoring what you say when you talk to yourself. And if you are in the process of expanding into how you're going to act and react to things, you have to understand that everything that happens to you actually is a creation of your thinking. So how important is it to stay positive, or how important is it for you to draw boundaries about what you let in and what you don't? I would say that would be pretty darn important, don't you? All right. Finally, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull an Ascended Master card. Kind of torn how I feel. I've learned some recent things about Ascended Master energy, and it's like, I do believe that there's definitely some archetypal energies and probably even some actual Ascended Masters that we really can look to for guidance. But I also am finding out that there are some that are not. But I think the reason I've always liked this deck mostly because it's that higher guidance as to the main focus that we have in a particular situation. Okay. All right. And I was just going to say, Ascended Master Katumi was an actual personal teacher of mine. So I'm just like kind of shocked that I pulled him out of the middle of the deck. And I have a walking relationship with Katumi. And this is where I get really torn, because I found that there are some darker forces that have used Ascended Master figures to create confusion and things like that in the New Age. But Ascended Master Katumi I've walked with personally. And almost 2 years. I had the great fortune of having a friend of mine, Kalina, channel Katumi for 2 years, like periodically here and there. And Katumi was a great teacher to me about staying focused. And I can't think of a better person to give us that information, that during this period of time, it is all about staying focused on the things that are important in our spiritual story. And for you, I think that it's going to be extremely important to keep that spiritual center, because you're going to need to open up to new ways of thinking, open up to new ways of behaving. The spiritual patterns that you've developed and stuff, that all that stuff is going to change how it's related to your life in a lot of different ways. And there's going to be a lot of taking a look at what makes you valuable and finding new ways that make you valuable. It's an exciting period of time, I think. You're just going to want to make sure that you do spend that time connecting with your inner self on a continual basis, to keep that equilibrium for the next couple of months, because the next couple of months are going to be quite interesting. So anyways, I want to thank you so much for watching my video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to my channel. Even if you don't press the notification bell to get every single thing that comes through, my channel. It really does help me when it comes to the algorithms, and I'm trying to launch a brand new channel. And I'd like for other people who are interested in astrology, card readings, or things having to do with New Earth, to be able to find out about me. And of course, YouTube won't suggest me. unless you kind of support me as well. So thank you so much for doing that. And if you have any comments, please, I welcome them below. I do try to answer every single comment that comes through. So anyways, thank you so much. Good luck with this new spiritual journey. And there are more videos to come. So I will see you next time. Namaste. Bye.